Good evening, folks. So, I had a request for a video from my fans across the pond, up north and everywhere else. I seem to be very popular outside of the United States. So, I had several fans ask me, very specific questions regarding our laws here in the States and how all this shit works because they don't know, and it will actually help them understand the Stephen Avery case better. So I wanted to make just a real quick video with, some basics so that they can understand it. Now, first and foremost, for my fans across the pond and all over the world, what you have to understand is that in the United States, a big verbal deal is made of innocent until proven guilty, and that's typically how it's supposed to work. What that basically means is that the burden of proof is on the state. It's on the prosecution. Get the salt! It's so funny that my lights just like randomly start blinking, and then they stop, and then they start again, and then they stop, and I'm going, God? So typically the burden of proof is on the state. Now in the Stephen Avery case, that was not the case. They said that was the case, but it wasn't. The burden of proof was clearly on the defense to prove him innocent, which is not how it's typically supposed to work. That's where that fucking Denny motion bullshit comes in. So our Constitution, our United States Constitution, comprises many of our basic civil rights. One of which is the Fourth Amendment, which is our right protecting us from illegal search and seizure. Basically, it's the law that governs the whole search warrant, bullshit, arrest warrants, that sort of shit. Then we've got the Fifth Amendment. You'll see this a lot on United States, on American television shows. I plead the Fifth. The Fifth Amendment is our right to not incriminate ourselves. If we want to, we can plead the Fifth, and that means that we don't have to talk. So you'll see that a lot. And you'll also see a lot of lawyers and detectives say, only people who plead the Fifth, only guilty people plead the Fifth. That's actually not true. I actually advise a lot of people to plead the Fifth always because, I'm sorry, but, there's a reason why in the Miranda rights, it's you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Yeah. I can't remember which amendment it is that guarantees us a right to an attorney. If one is not appointed to you, if you cannot afford one will be appointed to you by the court. These are public defenders. This is a government agency that basically employs attorneys. The problem with public defenders is that they're usually overworked and underpaid, and they get maybe 5 minutes to look at your case if you're lucky, depending on the area of the country you live in. Now, that's our United States Constitution. That is federal law. Typically, federal law supersedes state law, but not always. There's a lot of fucking subtleties that go into this shit, folks. Each state has its own constitution as well. Mainly lines up with the United States Constitution. There's like I said, there's little tiny subtleties here and there. And it would take me forever to explain to you all 50 states. So it's really just a good idea to understand the Constitution in the state that you're living in or that you're visiting if you come on over. So the reason why I'm explaining all this is that I've gotten a lot of questions about whether or not what the concept of new evidence means and what that means to Kathleen Zellner with direct impact on Stephen Avery's case. And, because Kratz and a bunch of other people have said to the media, the only way that Stephen Avery is going to get a new trial is if there is new evidence. That doesn't just mean evidence that is just now discovered, like in an investigation. That's not just what that means. That also means evidence that was not properly focused on during the trial or during the initial investigation. So it could be evidence that's already in the evidence locker. New evidence basically means anything that wasn't introduced at trial or wasn't properly explained, a new twist on it, a new spin on it, something that can prove that not only did Stephen Avery not do this, but he got an unfair trial. At the very least, if they can prove that he got an unfair trial, which, you know, the rest of us with brains know he got an unfair trial, but you have to explain that to the Wisconsin courts, and apparently they're as dumb as a fucking post. Basically, they would be able to get him a new trial if they are able to prove that his first trial was not fair, because that's another one of our rights under the U.S. Constitution, is a right to a speedy and fair trial with a jury of our peers. You see? But if they are also able to simultaneously find new evidence, which could mean either evidence that's already in the evidence locker, evidence that's already been collected, but was not properly investigated, was not properly followed up on, or was not presented at trial, or new evidence that the prosecution or the police did not catch on at the time of the crime. That's what new evidence means. It doesn't mean, you know, like brand new, came out of the fucking woodwork, never been seen by anybody, including the police before. It just means something that the court hasn't heard of or hasn't seen. So that's what that means. I personally feel that Kathleen Zellner is going to be able to get a new trial based off of just the fucking trial alone. But I also know that the woman's got a truckload of evidence that she can go through and just basically take her fucking pick. It's like shooting fish in a barrel at this point, folks. So that's what's going on there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to review Kratz's opening statement. This should be fun. And I will present you a video on that tonight. So thank you all very much for watching, my American viewers. Thank you for putting up with my explaining what we already know. To my international viewers, thank you very much for taking an interest in our judicial system. People, don't forget to subscribe to me here on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter, MamaPhoenix6. And don't forget, Clue TV now has an official Facebook page, Twitter, Clue TV Official, Pinterest, and Instagram. So follow me on all of those. You'll find all those links on the About page of my channel. Thank you all very much for watching. I'll throw the GoFundMe campaign link down in the bottom, and we'll see you next video.